Anthony, would you like to come down? Anthony Sheldon is the headmaster at Wellington College. He's also an expert on contemporary history. He's, in fact, an honorary historical advisor at 10 Downing Street. He's written over 40 books on contemporary history, education, and politics. And he was the founder of the Action for Happiness initiative with Jeff Mulgan and Lord Layard. And since 2006, he's been implementing happiness classes, which is a pioneering initiative at Wellington College. Wellington College is the leading independent co-educational school in the UK, as boarding school in the UK. And Sir Anthony's rather occupied recently writing a book, and I believe he has to leave afterwards, but we are blessed with his presence for the next hour or so. Welcome, Anthony, come down.
Is that picking up? And none of that sounded remotely peaceful. And if I had been coming to a talk and somebody was going to be talking about stillness, I would expect them to have a stiller CV than that, and so forgive me those things. I honestly don't know why I've done those things. I mean, I really don't, but I kind of think that it's a working out of through my system, and that what truly matters to me absolutely is stillness and love and harmony, and love is to be found in the stillness. So my title today is Stillness That Unites. Can I just check that you all can hear me? Righto. Who thinks of themselves as pretty still people? Who thinks of themselves as pretty unstill? Okay, you can stay. And the others who put their hands up can come up on stage and tell us quite why you feel so smug about it. Actually, no one put their hands up, but I'm sure that, to be honest, we're all on a journey, and we're all on a journey that matters greatly to us. I'm going to take my jacket off if that's all right. And thanks so much. And it matters to me. It's always mattered to me. So in great brevity. I finished university, really, really revved up, and I thought, I studied philosophy, and I looked for the meaning of life in philosophy at university, which was completely ridiculous. My lead philosopher was delightful, but profoundly clueless. And I really did think, so if I spend 40, 50 years studying philosophy, I could end up like you. And it was all Western philosophy. It's all very intellectual. I didn't totally understand it. Well, I didn't understand it at all, actually. But I knew there was something more and deeper. And so I did start meditating when I came down from university, and I started doing yoga in 1977 and 1978. And they changed my life because they made me realize that wisdom and stillness lie not in acquisition, but in letting go. And that in the same way that humility is endless and love is endless, so letting go is endless. And I have spent the rest of my life trying to let go. And as you've just heard from that CV there, I'm absolutely rubbish at it. But nevertheless, underlying all that has been a journey, and it's been a very clear journey towards giving up, towards sacrifice of the personal and the discovery of the universal. Even as a child, I thought strongly, I went to Sunday school, I felt strongly that how can this religion that is telling us all about love be right, that everybody else who didn't have a chance to find out about this religion would go to hell and sizzle in for eternity in a huge frying pan. I thought that was tricky. I really did think that was tricky, and I felt there must be something that was more universal. So I met my wife and I converted to another faith, and I've spent my life fascinated by different faiths. And my theme is the silence that unites. And I've been on many multi-faith discussions, and they're always helpful, but they're always most helpful when people just shut up and are together, but together in sacrificial silence, in the sacredness of coming into the same space, of giving up the superiority of this faith or over that faith. We went into Ely Cathedral yesterday, and someone rushed up to us, dog collar and everything, and we said, "Oh, how lovely your church is." And he said, "Yes, it's much better than Catholic ones, isn't it? Because here," and I thought, so rather cheekily, I said, "Well, this Ely was actually once a Catholic cathedral." He said, "Yes, but a long time ago." And it's that, I know it's making a judgment about people, but it is. It seems that the silence that unites does three things. In my experience, it unites us, and only unites us, with ourselves. Silence uniquely brings us to ourselves. Joanna, my wife, now very ill with cancer, and I have been brought together profoundly since her illness was diagnosed 4 years ago, and knowing that she wasn't going to get better. And there's that sense that we have of the sacredness of time, the sacredness of our bond of love, and a real understanding of those words that you all know about the importance of living life as if it's your last day on earth. And Joanna, named after Anna Freud, who had analysed some of her family, that was interesting because it seems to me that analysis is terribly important at helping people survive and lead more happy lives. And you can construct a more manageable ego, but that the journey perhaps is not about the construction of a manageable ego. Ultimately, it might be as a part of a process, but ultimately it's about letting go of the ego and throwing oneself into the great ocean of life and the great ocean of the universe, and finding oneself sustained by something that is far profounder than a temporary life construct which our individual egos are. So that's what we're finding there. So the silence that unites, first of all, unites us with ourselves. And that's precisely why at Wellington, and by the way, Wellington is not just a rich kids' school. We also have now 2 state schools called Wellington Academies. I'm also taking over a university called Buckingham, where I'm hoping very much to introduce all of this, because I think there are enormous problems with distressed students at university. Mindfulness, stillness is very much part of every day. I begin every staff meeting every Monday with 1-2 minutes of stillness. I try and begin all meetings with stillness. We'll do that in just a moment. But I just want to just go over the 3 themes. So the stillness that unites us with ourselves, definitely, and that's why it's important with young people to help them to learn to spend time with themselves and to collect themselves. One thing I remember so much from my own schooling was one lesson when I was in a junior school. The teacher asked us to be silent and then to write down all the sounds that we heard afterwards. It took me years to understand the significance of that exercise and why I remember it as sharply as really any experience at school. And I think that by giving all our young people regular experiences of stillness, it will help them to learn how to collect themselves, to live with themselves, and to really build from a securest of foundations. And they'll learn that when they get angry, or when they're faced with difficult decisions in life, they needn't react. They can learn how to act. And still people have choice, and unstill people, and let's face it, most of our lives we are unstill. We don't have a choice. We react. Bam, action, reaction. Action, reaction. And we suddenly find that we've done something, whereas the practice of stillness allows us to have choices. We can see the automatic train come in to our station, and we can see it pass, and we've chosen not to get on it. And we can then come back with a more considered response. We can learn to do this. So the silence that unites us with ourselves, and that journey is endless. There is no endpoint to the stillness that you can find inside yourself. And secondly, it helps us unite with each other. there's a very different quality to meetings when people are still. I'm sure you've all done this. And that gets slightly back to my point about philosophy. It's not about mental processes and thoughts, it's just about a direct experience. In your families, at work, with friendship groups you have, how weird if you were to begin a dinner party or a whatever, or a family lunch with everyone being quiet. I mean, of course, you may well say grace, but which is, I would say, absolutely in line with stillness, particularly if the grace is said with awareness rather than just automatically, with meaning rather than automatically. So meetings absolutely change. So they might be interfaith meetings, or they might be difficult work meetings, but the only place that we will ever meet each other is in stillness. Otherwise we are in thought and we are separate. And the reason that only stillness brings us together, because only in the sacrificial quality of stillness do we find love and empathy and compassion. All else is thought, all else is projection, all else is personal judgment. In stillness there is total acceptance. Acceptance of self, as we talked about, acceptance of others as they are, and that is love. I love you, but I wish you were taller. I wish you loved me more. I wish you didn't have those irritating habits. I wished you washed your hair more often. I wished your hair was a different colour. And it's all yes, but. So stillness alone, the stillness is my theme, stillness that unites, stillness alone unites us with others. Maybe just one person. Have you noticed when you're in love, or if you're probably all madly in love at the moment, but if you're not at the moment in love, just recollect back to being in love, and you will sense moments of incredible stillness, as if the clock stopped. Why? Because the clock did stop. Why? Because you are in eternity. And the third sense, I think, in which love unites is that it unites us with the universe. The stiller one is, the more one just sees what's happening. And one can hear a bird singing, or one can see a lorry being driven, and one feels a sense of complete oneness with that bird or with that driver of the lorry. In a very profound sense, one knows that one is that person. It's not a thought, it's a direct experience. So, those are the three senses. Silence unites us uniquely with ourselves. Yes, we can construct egos, we can have manageable identities. We do that all our lives. But if we want to ground ourselves profoundly in something that will take us way beyond analysis or therapy, though those can help absolutely, we need to learn how to be profoundly still with ourselves. Secondly, it unites us with others, professionally, family, loved ones, children, parents, people we've never met, different groups, people we hate. And thirdly, it unites us with the universe. So let's just now do what I do. It's almost exactly the time on a Monday morning when I would be in school doing this. So, has anyone never gone through, anyone here seriously never gone through stillness exercises? Hands up if anybody hasn't. Okay. So let's just do this. Let's just, if you've got anything writing, just leave it on your lap maybe, or whatever you want to. You can throw it in the air if you want. If it's true, it will be there in your being. And just feel the feet on the ground. And close the eyes. And really feel the feet on the ground. And just feel that delicious sense that we feel when we're walking barefoot. And just feel that real groundedness. And feel a sense of stillness coming all the way up from the base of your feet, soles of your feet, up through your ankles, coming up all the way through your knees, and then just feel that comfort in the chair. Try and get the back nicely poised so you're not slumped. Just there's always that point of equilibrium on the back. One of the great things about yoga is it helps us to find that position. So just let the chair take the weight. Let go totally into the chair. And just feel a sense of extraordinary calm coming up from the diaphragm, up along the backbone, the organs, the heart, up to the neck. Feel your hands being held. Feel yourself holding the hands on either person on either side. Just feel that sense of them there. Feel them loving you and affirming you. Just feel wrapped, caught up in a whole sense of you're being accepted for whoever you are, whatever you are. Just feel the support, love, affirmation, acceptance of everybody. Exhale the doubts and the thoughts, keeping the attention in this room, in the present, in the reality of the present, not in the unreality or the lesser reality of thought, but in the reality of your present moment. And into the head, just feel a warm, soft air blowing over your face. Feel the gentleness. Just in this sacred space, just inhale to the count of 3, just coming in, and 1, and 2, and 3, and exhaling 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5. And inhaling, coming in 1 and 2 and 3. And exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And keep the awareness at the tip of the nostrils, inhaling 1 and 2 and 3, and hold, and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and just do a couple in your own time. Keeping the eyes closed, see in front of you the you that you would yearn to be, the fully you, the you when you love yourself the most, when you feel most at harmony, most at peace, most at rest, most at joy. Just see yourself and see yourself smiling at you as you're sitting here today. And in your imagination, get up from your chair now, in your imagination, and walk towards that person with your arms out, and they have their arms out, and embrace that you. And see yourself just becoming that one person. You become one. And feel yourself now. Feel the deepest stillness. And acceptance. And just see in your own mind what you might do to find that greater stillness in your life. Not to say it's too difficult, or I don't have time for it, or I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it in the summer. Just sense what's in your mind now, and gently open your eyes, and with somebody, just find somebody, just a partner. This is why I always panic, because it always takes me back to school, and nobody ever wanted to be my partner at school. But for example, you two there, and so if you could just find a partner and just spend 2 minutes talking about 1 minute each about what you might do to find more stillness in your life, bearing in mind that you are so perfect already. Do we hands up if you have hands up if anyone's like me without anybody? Hands up if we're a solo. Okay, there you are, lifelong friend. Keep your hand. Anyone on their own? And change. So one person's talking to the other person if you haven't already changed. So just a final minute. Should we get 5 minutes questions? Or,
Yeah.
Okay. Is that about right? 5 minutes questions.
I don't know how long we had left for you. How much did we ask you to speak? Was it half an hour or 40 minutes?
I think it was 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Is this the next speaker?
Sorry?
Where's the next speaker? What?
I think Vaishnavi is the next speaker.
Okay. Okay, well, it's not been that long.
Next speaker.
How are you? It's nice to see you. You seem very, very still. Hiya. Hello. Lucy, hi. I'm Anthony. Oh, don't worry.
Lucy's
Hi.
talking about yoga with SEN.
Oh,
Asperger's not
okay. That's a great topic. How are you? Okay. Thank you for that. And has anything arisen that anyone might want to ask about? Can I just say that that this those questions that you were asking there, and that you were sharing with each other about how still can you be, how and what's stopping you finding the stillness, given that perhaps we all think it is very fundamental, and that also it's very unselfish, you know. Yes, being stiller will make your life profounder and more joyful, and you could say that's selfish, couldn't you? And taking time out to go to yoga or to go to meditation or mindfulness or to go to different spiritual practices can seem selfish, but actually it's the least selfish thing, because everyone who loves you will love the fact that you are becoming more centered and that your ability to guide and help other people will become much profounder. One thing that I'm sure you all notice is the stiller you become, the more people want to come to you and talk to you and seek your counsel and advice. You notice that? They're just kind of drawn to you. Woo. What have we got? What's come up? Yeah, that's, yes. So, one of my best friends at uni, long before I got into yoga and everything, she would always say of me that I'd arrive in a room and 30 seconds later my body would arrive. And I guess, you know, for the rest of my life I've been trying to kind of unify both in the same space. you want to say anything more share anything more about that with others? I don't know if there's a mic for any. Is there anything more you want to share about your own experience, or mic's just coming?
Thank you. Yeah, I think. I feel with education, I think about my personal education, and it was always very intellectual and just took me up to the head. And I've spent ever since I left university, my whole life has been about coming back to myself and finding myself and letting go of all the rubbish that was put into me. And that
it was that good.
Yeah. And it's been about reuniting all, my body, my breath, my mind, everything reintegrating.
Yeah.
And so I think that for me that's why this conference is so amazing, because I that's what I feel is lacking in a lot of education is integrating the different aspects so that we come to that place of stillness. Because when you're in, I was a Steiner teacher for a few years, a Waldorf Steiner kindergarten teacher, and one of the things Steiner said was the only true purpose of education is to teach correct breathing.
Yeah.
When you're with the breath or stillness, then you know everything you need to know.
Yeah. Yes, that's that's just a wonderful comment, and I'm that chimes with me, and I'm sure your experience chimes with many people. Just picking up on just the point you mentioned at the end about the breath. If only we could help young people learn to breathe deeply, they wouldn't have to panic and have panic attacks or fears and phobias, because they would just, as you know, when you are breathing deeply, you cannot be afraid. You cannot. The breathing can't become shallow, and the perspiration and the hyperactivity in the brain. How terribly odd it is that we have manuals for all apparatus that we get, cars and washing machines. Actually, I can't say I've ever read a washing machine manual myself, but I know there are these things with guarantees, and yet we have our bodies, which are more complicated than cars and washing machines, etc. But we don't read the manual, and if only we could learn how to live in harmony and integrate, to use your own word, our bodies and our breath and our minds, we would not have to go through all the gunk that so many of us have been through. Great point, thank you. Is there just a final one or two things? Yeah.
My experience of education was the year you started yoga. Thank you. I went to Wellington College.
Were you?
And in those days, I think it's probably a very different place from. I was greeted by being hung out of windows and put into cold buckets of water and basically waterboarded.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was.
I would think that would be great for everybody, and I think Nicky Morgan.
Yes, it was character forming.
Yeah, it was.
So it's quite it was a very powerful. The stillness that we just had shared with you was very powerful for me, because the emotional experience of seeing how possible change and transformation is for you and I to meet in this room and to be here and to know that someone like you is in charge of that school now. It's a very emotional experience for me.
Well, that's nice. Also, Sebastian Folkes, who wrote a book called Engleby, that's the one that's not birdsong, about Wellington, where in his experience, people were tipped upside down and had their heads put down toilets. Kind of gives a different sense of keeping your hair, washing your hair, but it's interesting looking at the paintings of some of the former people, and there is a lot of fear, but there's still a lot of fear in a different guise in schools today. There's fear of Ofsted. There's fear of failure, and there's a lack of trust of teachers to be professionals without being ring-fenced in by a great bureaucracy of things one can and can't do that destroys the spark of human individuality and human creativity. So yes, I mean, schooling matters. It matters so much that children are brought up, and it is about two things. I do think that people should work hard. I think they should behave very well and nicely to each other. I think they should be serious in lessons about wanting to get on and learn and deepen. But I think there should also be that love, and that education means that you are drawing out these talents that are inside, and if they're not drawn out at school, they can remain dormant for the rest of your life. Few people do begin, for example, we know, starting to dance or starting to learn musical instruments or to paint once you leave school. So these things should be done properly at school. So let me just finish by saying that that the theme of this session was the silence that unites, and the importance of uniting with ourselves, and actually not blaming others, but kind of accepting maybe these people who've been vile to us or whatever to us, maybe they didn't have freedom of choice. Maybe we should learn to love them and accept them as they were. They couldn't, after all, if they were horrible to us, have been very happy people, because happy people are not horrible. So uniting with ourselves, uniting with each other, and uniting more metaphysically with the universe, and the importance of endeavour in that, of work, of taking this work seriously. We work at the play at life, and we play at the work. And by the work, I mean exactly what we're talking about now, finding stillness. There is nothing more important in any of our lives than finding harmony and stillness in our lives. Nothing. So, and therefore it's about helping each other to take this great quest seriously, and obviously by being here at this fantastic conference, and it's really lovely, it's so lovely to be with you here this morning, and thank you very much for inviting me. It shows that all of you are serious about this stillness. Thank you for inviting me.